Hey everyone, we are live. Got that little button again this week and I'm not clicking it. It says, do you know you're live? And every time I clicked it, oh my God, now I'm talking to myself. Got that little button again this week and I'm not hang on.
All good?
Yeah, all good.
Okay.
I don't know.
I think so. I think we're looking good.
It's like I'm a technically challenged, I think they call it.
No, it's good. We got people watching.
Yes.
So, right. Let me just pop a signal out to our
so we're
members.
talking some Bitcoin, some Ethereum, and we've got 5 charts with the chart of the week. So yeah, it's going to be fun.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so we've got a one that I'm a little bit concerned about that we're going to talk to you all about, and how to kind of spot these things. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we're good. I've just popped a tweet out. Let's get some more people involved. Let's get everyone on the chat. Tell us where you're from. Let us know where you're watching from. Okay.
And then we can get this party started.
Cool. Okay. Well, I'm ready when you are.
Okay.
Giles is in the chat. Good old Giles. Hey, Lisa, and our favorite 1 inch.
It's like, wait till they see you. You're not exactly 1 inch. You're a bit taller.
Oh dear. Hey, from Germany, Nigeria, Thailand. Awesome.
Wow. All over the world.
All over the world.
So I've got my new background. It's kind of the same, but a little bit different. So
yeah, it looks good.
My Twitter, and yeah, so thank you, Josh, or 1 inch, for doing that for me.
Pleasure.
Right, so let's share the screen and get straight into Bitcoin. So if you're in getting started in crypto, you would have seen this last night, because this is a pattern that we've seen and we are currently trading. So it's a little bit exciting. So it's kind of curling up around this region, and we've got a nice sort of cup forming with this curve. So we know the curve, when we get the curve, it means that we're getting a lot more volume coming in to the market. So, and we're starting to curve up and hold that curve at the moment. So that's a really, really good sign that BTC is about to continue up. And we've been in this pattern for, I think 88 days now. So let's have a look and see that I've got all my magnets happening so we can, so it's drags BTC up. So this is our point where we sort of dropped down to where we are now. So we've got 90 days. So 3 months we've been going sideways, and that's why, Twitter's so salty. The world is melting down. It's the end of Bitcoin and it's going to zero.
No, I refuse to believe that. That is FUD. That is FUD. Don't be one of those people.
I read that on Twitter though, so it must be true. It's on the internet.
Oh yeah, reliable sources.
Yeah. So I've seen lots and lots and lots of charts that say Bitcoin's going to like 8 to 10 grand. So just saying, must be true.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
So anyway, if we zoom out, this is Bitcoin on the daily. We've got this lovely cup forming here. So obviously everyone's concerned about the grayscale releasing on the 18th. Now, if we have a look at this cup, so this comes up this wave here. So if we hit this region, our pivot on or around the 18th, and then we come back down and we hit the wave 1 high, and then we continue up. It's like beautiful.
Perfect.
Don't get much better than that. So, and it's like, look at the magnets helping it.
I'll tell you what, though, the Bitcoin calls in the signals group have been insanely accurate over the last few days. A lot of happy people in there.
It is. Well, it's nice when Bitcoin does what it's meant to do. So, yeah. So if it continues to do what it's meant to do, we should be seeing a touch of this pivot, which is around the sort of 42K mark, before we get a correction down to about the 36K mark. So it's obviously it's going to be a little bit choppier than that. That's how Bitcoin just trades. But yeah, at the moment we can see that we've got this really choppy sort of region that we've been in for 90 days. And yeah, so it's, I'll chuck this chart up on Twitter after so that you guys have got it. But yeah, so to me, this looks like it's going up. Obviously, there's always patterns. We've always got pivots in certain regions that if something happens and it doesn't pass those pivots, we can go down. So make sure you always have a stop loss, especially if you're in margin or leverage trading, so, or futures, because you would just get liquidated. But this pattern looks to me like it's continuing up, and we have been trading this pattern and it's moving like perfectly at the moment. So we did get wicked out by like $1 the other day, which I woke up and I'm like, oh, I hate that. But we got quickly back in, and yeah, we hit on targets this morning. So this is looking good. So rebuying in this region, and you know, we should have a longer sort of ride going up to this level. So yeah, so this is a nice looking BTC chart. This should pull up a lot of our alts as well. So possible, like just a retest of this channel sort of region, we could see maybe 33.5 before we head up. So just be aware of that if you are leverage trading, which lots of you do, and lots of you do get liquidated. So yeah, that's my advice for everyone out there.
Stop losses. Really key.
Yeah. So, oh, hi from someone to someone in Barcelona. Nice.
Well, they say, let's pretend I'm in Barcelona.
Oh, pretending. I didn't see.
Well, it worked.
In Barcelona too, then, because it's cold in Melbourne.
So long as there's no Italians in the chat, that's fine. After the football last night, I'm not. No, I'm kidding. It was a good game. Well deserved. I'm still a bit salty though.
So were you telling me that it wasn't even a real, like, you know, when they had penalties, it's not even a real win?
I just don't like the way that penalties decide a game. There needs to be a different system. It just, especially with England. They
need to adopt the AFL system where we just come back the next week and just do it again. So, and we did that a few years ago. So, you know, there was a Collingwood game and it was a tie, and then the following week we just came back and had another grand final. So
yeah, another excuse for beers and food and yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Okay,
all good.
So this is Ethereum. So we've got EIP. What is the number?
1559. I'm going to go with 1559. I've seen the number so many times that I've forgotten now. Yeah, I'm just waiting for it to get done so we don't have to remember it.
So we've got the London hard fork that's coming up. So that's what we're going to go with. We're not going to go with numbers because I can never remember them. Yeah, so at the moment this is moving really nicely. We're in a small channel, so this needs to hold this region. So this is a 3-hour chart. We're struggling a little bit on Ethereum with these MAs on this 3-hour chart. So if we go to the 1 hour, we're still struggling with the MAs on Ethereum. Now, Bitcoin's moved, but Ethereum's like hardly moved in the last few days. It's kind of just gone sideways and, you know, correcting constantly. So we could come back down and just retest this region a little bit on Ethereum before we head up. Let's get that channel a bit tighter. So we're kind of coming to a critical region on this chart. So we could go down as low as around the sort of 2,100 sort of range, maybe drop out a little bit just to sort of, you know, collect those stops that are too tight underneath that channel and then continue up. So, you know, obviously if Bitcoin decides it's going to continue down, then, which I don't think it is, but Ethereum will do the same. But, you know, every time, and I say this every week, every time Ethereum looks ugly, it goes up. So, you know, the uglier it looks, the higher it pumps for some reason. I don't know why that is. But we have got this sort of consolidation. This looks like consolidation to me. It's too even. You know, we are kind of, this is a daily, and we are underneath those EMAs. Yeah, so, but they haven't crossed over yet. So it's, yeah, they're kind of coming up to cross over. And they didn't quite, they kind of made it here and they've come back down. So this is the daily and they're not looking great. So this, the yellow one on my charts is always the 21. And the purple one is the 9 EMA. So the light pink one is the 100 MA and the dark pink one is the 200 MA. So just for everyone sort of wanting to know what the indicators are that I have on my charts, and this is a visual range, visual profile, which gives us support and resistance sort of in block orders. Yeah, so that's what's happening. So on this daily, we've got the 200 MA sitting down at the 2034 mark. That's kind of swooping up a little bit. So we should hold around sort of the 2080 to 2100 here and head up in this channel. So I do think this kind of holds. So yeah, to me, the uglier this looks, the better it's going to be. So let's hope that is the case this time. We've had a little bit more volume coming in every time we get near the end of that channel. So that's another good sign as well. We're just sort of lulling out into the volume at the moment, which we've done sort of in this region where we saw a little bit of a decline. So we do need a little bit more volume here on Ethereum, and so we can continue up. But I think we're going to trade between these MAs for a little bit. Yeah, so let's just see if this 200 MA holds. I do think it will, and yeah, it should continue higher. So looking at our really, really low level chart. So this is a 15-minute, and predominantly you're going to be scalping on a 15-minute. We just crossed down, so we're going to retest this lower region on this channel, which is showing more than likely is going to happen before we sort of start climbing up again on Ethereum. So a little bit more sideways. It's like, I know it's frustrating for everyone, but it does look like we've got a little bit more sideways on a few of these charts. So yeah, a little bit boring.
A little bit. But it's starting to turn green, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully the whole market just turns green and explodes, and then everyone's like nice again instead of saying
True. Yeah.
So should we get into some alts?
Yeah, let's do that.
Do you have any questions on Ethereum or Bitcoin before we go?
We did have a couple. William said he's hearing a lot about how Bitcoin's showing an HNS formation. Do you agree that the formation is correct, and that it's near the end of that pattern, or not?
Well, is it a HNS in
head and shoulders? I'd imagine
the overall pattern. Because I've seen people say that we've got a head and shoulders on this overall pattern, and I'm just like, well, how many shoulders does it have? So it's got way too many shoulders and way too many heads in that pattern for it to be a head and shoulders. So, you know, and if it's in this little bit here, the shoulders are it's too uneven for me to, no, I wouldn't say that we've got, to me, that looks more like a cup formation. And when we're looking at this, it's got too many shoulders and too many heads. So, yeah.
Okay. And then David said, isn't Ethereum slow because Bitcoin dominance is going up?
Yeah, Bitcoin dominance is going up. So if we go to the ETH BTC chart, we can see that we're still corrective on this chart. So, which is, it's in a good pattern actually for Ethereum to continue up after like this next run. So we've got this corrective A, B, C, D, E pattern happening. So we've got our E wave in play at the moment. So once we get down to this level here, which is 0.055 on Ethereum, we should start going up. And the dominance should be increasing on Ethereum at that point. So at the moment, Ethereum's just so super sideways. So if we're looking at the pairings, and that's how we get sort of the dominance, by looking at BTC paired to Ethereum, we can see that BTC is stronger at the moment, which we know because it has been going up. We've got, this is a daily, and we've got the MACD is crossing down. So this means that we're going to pull down to this region before we head up again. So if we go to the lower time frames, we can see that we haven't got enough waves in this pattern here, and we've got one more wave down on this chart. So we're getting very, very low on the RSI on these lower time frames as well. So to me, that means we've got one more wave down before we take off again on Ethereum. So that's what I was saying, a little bit more sideways on that pattern.
Cool. Okay, I think we're good there. Let's pop into some alts, I think.
Okay.
And I think this first one, now Lisa and I are working with Kucoin, and it just goes to show how much do your own research is such an important thing. I did a retweet last night of this first one, KCLP, Kucoin Launchpad, and we know that Kucoin are doing a launchpad as well. So I did a retweet on this, but looking into it now, actually,
it was the wrong one.
Yeah, I'm not convinced. We got in touch with Kucoin, and whilst I don't think this is particularly, you know, it's a bad thing, it's just they've been very clever in the way they're trying to market it and this and that, and looking like they're affiliated. So
so it wasn't affiliated with Kucoin. So KCLS is not affiliated with Kucoin, but
KCLP.
Okay, so and then what's the Kucoin one?
The Kucoin one is, if I move over to Kupad Finance, it's KCC.
Okay, so that's
the one.
Kucoin Community Chain. So that's the difference. So you guys need to keep an eye on that one, that you're buying KCC when this is released, and not, what is it?
Not KCLP, which stands for Kucoin Launchpad.
Yeah.
The Kupad are the guys you want. Yeah, the Kupad is the first decentralized launchpad on Kucoin community chain. So you can see where it's been pretty easy to get people confused.
Yeah, because they are using Kucoin. So I don't know how they actually get away with that. So yeah,
I'm not sure. And like I said, I don't think it's particularly malicious. I think they're just trying to be really clever with their marketing, but doesn't do it for me.
Well, this one, so Kucoin token, which is KCS, just to confuse you all a bit more, we've got this corrective pattern happening at the moment. A lot of the alts are in, fourth wave corrective patterns. Fourth waves are generally triangles. So, we're sort of playing these triangles at the moment. We've just hit the top and we should come down back into this buy zone. So the buy zone on this one, I've got about 11.8 to about 11 on this chart, and then we should take off. So now I always tell everyone, if you've followed me for a while, to buy the C, because we don't always get the D and the E. So sometimes we can just, like we saw when things are super bullish, they just fly through. So you want to be buying the C and holding on to it, and because this retrace is not huge, and then letting it run, because this is going to be massive once these this is kind of like they're going to have the BNB. So this is
smart chain, yeah,
on the smart chain. So on the Kucoin community chain, we'll be using KCS to buy, sort of like we do on the BSC chain. There's so many codes when we're using BNB. So similar sort of stuff. So, and tongue twister. So Kucoin has got so many things happening and so many launches happening, and we've been talking to them over the last few weeks about all of the projects that they've got coming. So we'll try and get them on the show, actually, just so that they can let you all know what exciting things they've got coming up. So yeah,
that would be cool. And yes, Kettleborn in the chat said there's so many KCC launch pads popping up. So
yes,
there is a lot.
Where, because a lot of these things do sort of, they're not the original, and that's how you lose your money, because then they just pull all the liquidity out and you get rubbed. So you want to make sure that it's the original one and the correct one.
Joe has asked if it's worth selling KCS now and then coming back in at the C wave. Obviously, we can't tell you where to buy and sell, but
yeah. So it is looking likely to follow this pattern. If you're in this, you could possibly sell 50% and then compound that trade as we go up. So if you want to know how to do that, I've got a laddering video on this same YouTube channel that you can see how I sort of get to different levels and I sell portions and I buy back. So that's another good way of doing it. So you are, still in that trade a little bit, and then, compounding when it comes back a bit lower. So, if you're sort of going, oh my God, what if this takes off? That's your answer, to keep a portion. And then if it does take off, you're still in the trade. So, but I do think it will pull back at this region. We don't have enough waves in this correction as yet. So I'm fairly confident this is going to pull back.
Another question as well, when the Kucoin smart chain will be launched. And I'm just looking now, KCC was launched about a month ago, just under a month ago. And they're just constantly doing lots of PR and promo about it. So it's all kind of happening now. It's a good time to be keeping an eye on it.
Yeah, so we can see that we've had this nice run. So this is our 1, our 2, our 2, and our 3, and we're now in a 4th. So obviously we've got a 5th wave. Now this could be the start of this wave pattern. We could going into an extended wave formation. So this might be only wave 1 of the next run of waves. So because obviously waves work in 1 to 5. So we do 1 to 5, we come down, we do a correction, and we've had major corrections on all of the alts. So that to me means that we're going into a new cycle. So, this is only the beginning. So we could be going much, much higher. And I do see that happening with BTC as well. So I don't think we're hanging around the 30,000 mark for much longer. I think we're going to start moving up on all of these coins and charts. And yeah, so they're all looking good, and we're getting the volume sort of coming back in to the market. So it's, to me, it's a really good time to start sort of, laddering back into a lot of these trades, and, laddering back into your long-term trades, because, you know, coins like XRP are on supports, and, you know, they make good money when they're run. So our next one. So number 2, I'll stop talking about that and just random. So this is Swipe. So it's SXP.
SXP. Yeah. Should we do some FA first or TA?
Yeah, let's do some.
Let me find my tabs. Swipe, yes. They have what they've done recently. They've been whitelisted by the banter DYOR, which means you can now stake your SXP if you have any, and earn swap fees in SXP. So anyone into staking, have a look at that. That's exciting.
APY on the staking on SXP, does it say?
APY. Let me see if I can find that here. I'm still pretty new with staking, so let me have a look. You go for some TA whilst I have a look.
You have been staking everything though lately. I know you're on like a staking frenzy. So
I have. Well, it's one of two things. I've gone staking crazy and also NFT crazy because I want to learn a little bit more there. So it's been a week of getting my head around networks and MetaMask and staking and farming and harvesting. It's all sorts, which has been exciting.
So yeah, so what we should do is get Josh on to show you guys how this all works, because like he's literally like staked like every coin that we have. So and he can tell you how all the different ones work, because they're not all the same, and that's the confusing thing. They don't always work the same when you're staking them. And you know, sometimes you have to go to the website, sometimes you're within an app, sometimes it's within Binance, and you know, it can be very confusing if you're new to sort of this whole world.
So, once you've learned that initial bit though, it then becomes pretty understandable. It's just getting over that first hurdle. So you do have to persist a bit and learn it. I have just found some stats. It looks like depending on where you're staking the XSP, you can, I mean, these are ridiculous numbers, but 929% on the ERC20 chain. No. 3,000 on the BSC chain.
That's insane. That's insane. Why isn't everyone staking this? It's like...
I know. Yeah. So that's all from me. I'm going to go off and stake some SXP, I think.
I think so. So the pattern is looking like it's almost complete in the correction. So we can see that it's repeating patterns over and over and over. We've dropped in. We've got 1, we've got 2, 3, 4, and we've got the 5th wave. So now this is what they call a leading diagonal pattern, which means that it's quite congested in the region and the waves overlap, because that's how leading diagonals work. So if we're looking at this as the initial wave 1, SXP should make massive moves. So if we're looking at this here, let me just show you with some waves. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we've come down and we've completed this correction almost. We might have one more touchdown to this support, which is about the $68, 69 range, and then continue up. So if we're putting some fibs on this chart also, this has got massive potential in my opinion. So, you know, once they get, they've had a few issues with getting cards out to people, but once they get through these issues of getting the cards out to people, I think this is just going to be massively huge. So if I was to put some waves on this overall, I'd be looking at a larger pattern wave 3 going to about the $16 mark, and then possible wave 5 going to about the $22 mark. So looking at that as this being our wave 1, coming down for our wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5. So this has got massive potential, in my opinion. So, and, nearing the bottom of this run. So this is one to hodl and start laddering into, in my opinion, and holding for a little bit longer. So a lot of the charts are looking like this at the moment, where they're coming to the bottom on these supports. And I think we're just about to go, I say that, and we've been 90 days in this sideways correction. So that could continue a little bit longer, but it's getting closer.
Yeah, it is indeed. I've got one question from Jacob. Oh, it looks like you've answered it yourself. Excellent. It's about staking XSP, and that can be done app.swipe.org. And then you connect your wallet through there, you download the MetaMask extension for Chrome, and connect it all up, and off you go. But just be careful, make sure you do some research before giving it a go.
Exactly. So yeah, so obviously with the huge APYs they've got at the moment, and with this, potentially at the bottom of this pattern, it's looking really good, in my opinion. So number 3, we're going to look at Yearn Finance. Now this is YFI. So obviously this has gone massively huge. Like we had an all-time high on this one of $95,000. Now Bitcoin hasn't even gone this high, but the reason this one's it has a limited supply, so a really limited supply, less than what Bitcoin has. Bitcoin has obviously 21 million coins. YFI, I think, has 10,000. Is that correct, Josh?
Let me come back to you on that. I've got my head in one of their articles at the moment.
No. So this to me looks like it could continue again. So this one likes to sort of move in head and shoulders patterns. So we can see in this original run that we had a very clear head and shoulders pattern. We've retraced, we've continued up, and we're coming back to this support region. So we're building a strong support on YFI. So if we do get one more wave down on this, we're going to around the sort of the 29,000 mark. At the moment, we've got quite a nice channel that's formed, and that could take us higher. So a lot of these channels sort of do take us higher a lot of the time. And so we get that curl and we get that continuation. Now we're getting that with, we're starting to get the volume in the right places at the right time. And our visual range, visual profile is showing that we do have strong support in these regions if we do drop. So we've got lots of money sort of hovering around the sort of low 30s on YFI. But I think we're going to hold this channel at the moment and then continue up. So we don't have enough waves in this as yet. So if we're going up, we could hit around the sort of the 42 mark. So this is sort of YFI has been running first, and then BTC runs. So, this is a good sign that BTC is about to run. So we could see YFI move in the next week, and then BTC straight after.
So 36,666 of the max supply of YFI coins.
Massively, like compared, so 36,000 compared to 21 million.
21 million, yeah.
So it's definitely going to move a lot better.
They're going for scarcity.
Yeah, exactly. So supply and demand. So, when we've got that limited supply, obviously when the demand increases, which I think it's about to on this at the moment, we can start running.
Also, as another article of interest with Yearn Finance, I've just launched for any of you clever clubs out there who know what you're doing. They've got a bug bounty program with payouts potentially up to 200K in dollars. So yeah, they're looking for ethical hackers. They're invited to find bugs in the Yearn Finance domains and applications. And if that's your thing, do go and pop that into Google, find out a little bit more about it, because there's some they're going to pay out between $20,000 and 200K for critical vulnerabilities. So
See, that's massive. So if you're a hacker,
huge.
you know, you can use your abilities for good and, you know, find this. So, because Yearn obviously don't want to be rugged, and they don't want to have all their investors like losing money. So $200,000, tiny transaction for them. But yeah, it's worth it in the long run.
It's tiny in the grand scheme of things as well, because just between January and April of this year alone, around about $156 million was stolen from DeFi protocols, which just is more than the total amount in the entire of last year, 2020.
It's just it's crazy. It's just there's so many rugs. Like every day there's another rug. So you know, you want to sort of know what you are investing in and know what you're trading. And that's Absolutely. What we were saying with the KCS and, you know, the Kucoin community chain and the copycats that are popping up. So just be careful when you see these, what they are. Okay, number 4. I've got the counting this week, so I'm pretty excited. We've got Alice. So Alice has had a really nice run. So we've got one more wave down on Alice coming down in this channel, and then this is going to explode again. So it has been such a strong mover. So we can see that on the RSI, we've got a little bit more room to come down. We've just crossed down on the MACD. So I'm giving you guys ones that you can get into lower this week and just sort of ladder in and get ready, because these are about to explode. Like this week, they're going to be sort of in minor corrections and still coming down, but the whole market as a whole is moving sideways. So I'm looking for the ones that are going to be big movers in the next couple of weeks to a month. And Alice is one of those. And it's, you know, it's just in an ABC at the moment, larger pattern ABC. So we've got the internal ABC there. So, you know, this is running flat pattern if you're an Elliott wave person, and we could get a truncated wave. And in this region, I'll just show you what a truncated wave would look like. So we're kind of almost there if this wave's truncating at the moment, but I think we're going to come down a little bit more, and probably around the sort of 6.1 to maybe around the 6 mark on Alice before we take off again. So if we're looking at this pattern, we had, you know, obviously when Alice came in, it massively pumped. We can see that here, it goes forever. And, you know, most coins come back to these highs. So this is $60 on Alice. And we can see that we've had a long sideways correction. We're at this point now. So if we're putting on some measurements on this, on our date range from when we dropped in and where we are now. So, you know, 1,444 bars, which is massive. So from this date in this region, we've got 118 days of pretty much sideways movement on Alice. So this one, I don't think it's got much more time going sideways, because all of these indicators are getting to a point where they're screaming out like this is about to run. So yeah, to me, this is you know, we've got the curl, we've got the alt curl happening. So if we just let me take this off and I'll put the curve on so we can see we've got curve on Alice. So it's looking really good that it's going to continue. Oops, wrong bit. So we can see that this curve comes around on the channel and will continue up. So yeah, really nice chart. And I think we're just going to, we haven't hit that parabolic move yet on Alice, and I think that's about to happen.
And I think I'd like to know if anyone's actually played the game. Alice, my neighbor Alice.
Yeah.
Because I've never actually played it. It looks quite interesting. It's a Swedish company who built it, and they I mean they've got all sorts of games, not just Alice, my neighbor Alice. It's based on farming. It's, obviously I believe they probably saw that Facebook game that everyone got into at one point or another, where you just did your own farming, and I never even touched it through fear that I'd become obsessed with it. So
You do get a little bit obsessed with a lot of these games, and it's like, what was the one that you were playing the other night, Decentraland, and you were building
oh my
farm?
God. Yeah, I had to catch myself after an hour, wondering what I just spent the hour doing, running around as an avatar, talking to randoms. So yeah, you do have to watch. They are time suckers, but you know that's what a good game does. And obviously that's going to reflect back in the coin itself as more and more users get involved and start playing the game. They've just announced that they've got a mobile companion game for my neighbor Alice. So they're spreading out onto different platforms, different devices. But yeah, anyone, Farmville, that's the one. Featherflue's got it in the chat. So yeah, it's always interesting. A lot of people do trade these coins and never even know what it's about or what they do. But I'm fascinated by what's behind the
I'd
name.
like to know what they all do. So, and that's why I've got you doing all the FA for me. And it's because it's so important to know what they do, whether they're sort of got longevity or whether they're just going to like die completely. So, but yeah, Alice is a really interesting one.
Yeah, very cool company. A female CEO. She's really cool. Yeah, doing cool stuff.
All right, cool. So number 5, and this is also our point of the week. So this is Algo. So Algorand. Now, this has obviously been in correction for a long time as well. So if we put, let's go and put our date range on this, and we can see that we've been in this region for 152 days. We didn't break out on the high, and we've formed this strong support region. So we might come back down one more touch to this support region. It's around the 0.78 mark, and then a continuation up. So this is looking like our MACD is looking likely to we're just about to cross up here on the MACD. And I think we're just going to, like, as we touch down to this support one last time before we take off again. And yeah, this is going to be huge. I think we're going to get some nice movements. And you were saying, Josh, this has got so much FA on it at the moment.
Yeah, so when I tend to do my research and pick up the latest news, I have a look at the news on Google and what's going on. And just popping in Algorand, it's had, I don't know, there's like 5 or 6 headlines on the first page, and I don't even know which article to go with to explore even more. But I'll read out some of the headlines, like the hemp blockchain have chosen Algorand as its blockchain platform. What else have we got? Algorand's trying to build a smart contract platform without trade-offs. Algorand get cozy with the crypto custodian Copper. Former PayPal employees launched decentralized cross-border payment network on Algorand. So, and they've launched $100 million Algorand ecosystem. That's their capital group. Arrington Capital launched $100 million Algorand ecosystem fund. So they got money coming in left, right, and center, and all sorts of things happening.
Yeah, and we can see there's lots of volume in this region still. So, you know, if we're looking at the pattern, so if we look at charts in the last run where we had sort of e-gold and we had ADA, and they do these massive runs and they always touch the all-time high. So, and that's kind of what we saw in that last run. A lot of those charts were running, touching, forming these massive cut patterns. Another one was Travala that did the same thing and had a massive run. So this one's got the all-time high on this chart where it dropped into Binance was 3.4. Now it could have gone higher or another, but they tend to sort of come around. So we've got a smaller cut pattern in this region where we've almost finished this handle, and we should continue up. So, you know, one more small drop is possible here, not massive. So a good region to start sort of laddering in longer term buys, because we've got a 300% move on Algorand coming up over the next month or so, probably month to sort of 3 months in this region. So it's looking really, really strong.
It is. And interestingly, going back to that Arrington Capital, who just put 100 million in to Algo, they're the guys who also put 100 million into XRP back in 2017, I think. And you know, they've stuck with that, and they stuck with Ripple Labs. But it will be interesting to see how the XRP people react to them now putting 100 million into Algorand as well, because there's very similar stuff going on there.
So I know we've done all our 5 charts, but I just want to bring up XRP because we have mentioned it a couple of times. So if we have a look at this chart here, we've got a pitchfork, and you know, we've come down, we've retouched. So we're on the edge of this support, and we're holding that at the moment. And this chart to me looks like it's just about to explode. So we are fairly high. This is a 2-hour chart, so the RSI is fairly high. So we've got a little bit of sideways in the short term. But on the daily, we can see that we're holding these regions, and our RSI is super, super low. So, you know, maybe over the next day, we've got a little bit of sideways sort of movement. But, you know, coming up, we've got so much room to move. And on our MACD, we're swooping up. So, you know, to me, this is just about to explode, and it's looking so good. And, you know, this is the Bitfinex chart. We can see that we are, you know, we're holding this long-term support. We are underneath, this is a daily, so we're underneath resistance on the MAs at the moment as well. But once we sort of get moving on XRP, it just moves and it just explodes through everything. So, you know, looking at this chart here, we've got, you know, we've got a massive triangle sort of in this region. So, you know, we've got so much room to grow. So even before we touch this resistance is at $1.23. So we've got a little bit of resistance at around the 74 mark, and then some more resistance at around the $1.04 mark. So, you know, that to me looks like that could be our 5-wave pattern coming up on XRP. So it's really simple. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That could be our possible potential pathway on XRP. So, you know, a lot of these charts are on these support levels at the moment. So I don't see them breaking down because there's money coming back into the market at the moment. So, you know, it's all looking really, really nice.
It is.
Yep.
That's excellent. Okay. Well, I'm sure we'll get those out as signals and targets as soon as they look like they're going to do something on our website, gettingstartedincrypto.com. If you're not there already, sign up and join in a huge community now. Yeah, and don't forget to smash the like button before you go. Yeah, excellent. Cool. Okay. All right, we will catch you on Twitter and inside the group. So thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Have a good week.